My lords, we have a wonderfully diverse and frankly rather large collection of historical specimens that we've acquired from all over the galaxy. They are the pride of our nation and likely the envy of several others. Today I'm going to talk you through some of the best and most powerful and explain how we acquired them. We have identified approximately 248 specimens in total, but this report will focus on ranking the best and most interesting 20. We start with the Zulcor Wings. These are chitinous wings taken from the lithivore species known as the Zulcor. These insectoid creatures consume vast quantities of minerals as the main portion of their diet. A single swarm is capable of tearing through a mountain of matter in weeks. After digestion, the minerals reinforce the Zulcor's exoskeleton, and as a consequence, their waste products frequently contain traces of crystals and rare metals. We were able to use the traces of these rare metals to increase alloy production by 2%, and this was eventually scaled up across the entire empire. These were found during routine rare specimen procurement, an exciting and valuable find, though not quite as exciting as the golden Phonograph record. An archaic data storage device containing a series of images and sounds from pre-FTL Earth. The collection of these images included many photographs and diagrams, both in black and white and colour. The first images are of scientific interest, showing mathematical and physical quantities, the solar system and its planets, DNA, and human anatomy and reproduction. But care had been taken to include not only pictures of humanity, but also of some animals, insects, plants, and landscapes. The images also contained a depiction of humanity's broad range of cultures. We discovered the record on a backwater abandoned Xeno planet, next to the drone that carried it, Voyager. How these aliens came to find such a wonderful example of human ingenuity, we don't know, but clearly it holds great significance to our people, providing wonderful Unity bonuses. The arm dealer's Triggerless gun. This weapon was designed during the short-lived second reign of the arms broker on Chur's compass. At this time, the Caravanner's Citadel was closer to a weapons trading forum than a casino, with blasters smithed in-house and home to a variety of resident arms dealers. At the time, weapons were presented to prospective buyers with the trigger removed in an attempt to discourage incidents of petty theft. This weapon was amusingly found by one of our admirals when gambling on Chur's compass, from a reliquary, if you can believe it. Nevertheless, it's a wonderful find, as its design has helped to increase the yield of our ship-to-ship weapons by 3%. The Cosmic Diamond Fragment comes next, and this was found during investigation of a Class 2 anomaly. A fragment ejected from a dying star that has since crystallized, this cosmic diamond formed in the extreme pressures of a stellar core, cooling so gradually as to form complex yet stable crystalline structures. This rare shard contains uniform plasmatic layering of helium and oxygen trapped within its surface. It's certainly very pretty to look at, but the scientists tell me that analysis of the diamond's internal structure has unlocked secrets in crystal production technologies. Thus, the find has actually resulted in an increase of 15% to our monthly rare crystal production. A wonderful find indeed. Next we have rock jellies. Cryofossilized remains of a large gelatinous invertebrate. On a superficial level, these calcified remains resemble rock formations, but in fact this native fauna was once the dominant life form on Alcor 3. We initially discovered this while exploring an ocean world which was covered with what we thought to be floating islands. In fact, these islands were once jellyfish. Now fossilized, they've been bobbing around in the sea currents for millennia. Their remains solidified as they decayed, eventually forming these massive floating pseudo-islands. A glorious find indeed, and in developing new drills to explore these jellyfish husks, we enhanced our ability to extract minerals by 8%. Wonderful. The Verdingo Tendril hook comes next. The prosthetic hook of a Verdingo pirate named Hespori Valerian, the Verdingos were a group of plantoids that bridged the gap between piracy and mercenaries, as likely to collect debts as they were to capture errant cargo ships. Captain Hespori lost their dominant Tendril were hired to lead a military ground assault. Following their victory, the captain forged this hook from the very medal awarded for their role in the battle. It is a lovely specimen indeed, and we acquired this from an investigation into reports of buried treasure. A treasure trove, if you will. And through detailed analysis of the material, we've been able to introduce new methods to alloy production, increasing alloy output by 6%. The Perikan Tapico jewel is next, and this is beautiful. The Perikan Union was a society of master craftsmen known for creating exquisite luxury goods. The gem was a masterpiece of the legendary jeweller known as Bedir's Tapico. Tapico faceted this enormous gem with a simple chisel over a period of years and used alchemical techniques to liquefy its center. The crystals floating within the jewel were formed with precision lasers, superheating the mineral molecules to reform smaller, darker gems while leaving the exterior intact. The jewel is acquired upon meeting the legendary paragon Captain Ness. Her story is told elsewhere, but the jewel is part of her treasure hoard. Our best artificers have managed to replicate the technology to create this wonderful jewel, leading to an increase of 20% in rare crystal production. Moving on, we have the Ancient Satellite. This is a derelict satellite offered as a gift by ancient mechanical drones found on a newly built colony. Its databanks are decayed and corrupted in many places, but current census records and birth registries are intact. The information on the population behaviour across the planet provided wonderful information on how the new colony could grow sustainably. Its partial functionality after years of decay was a testament to its sturdy construction, and we used these designs to increase our own ship hull integrity by 7%. Next we have one of my personal favourites, the Altar to the Elder One, as this represents a potential world-ending event which we managed to avoid. We found this device during the events codenamed the Broken Gates. It was here we found a preternatural machine within a hallowed, ancient chamber. Even in its now defunct state, it still radiates a singular aura of unmeasurable psionic energy. Some say its tempting whispers can still be heard, which aim to coax wayward souls into returning to the planet we found, the name of which is now classified. In any case, this device, we believe, is able to effectively mind control weak-willed intelligent beings and subvert them into activating it. Upon activation, in theory, we believe it will open a portal to another dimension, the dimension of suffering, and let loose an Elder One upon us, a void entity of immense power. Fortunately, the men and women of the Commonwealth were able to prevent this from happening, and as such we are now left with the device. We have found, after decades of study, that the device appears to increase the governing ethics attraction of the people on whichever planet it resides on by around 50%, making that planet's population far less likely to rebel or display anti-Commonwealth sentimentalities. It is a truly remarkable device. Another personal favourite of mine, the Figurehead of the Hyacinth. The recovered ornamental figurehead from the doomed voyage of the Hyacinth Ark vessel. After a serious reactor malfunction, the Ark ship was left without power and stranded in the depths of space. Colonists aboard fought over dwindling resources before, sadly, eventually starving to death. This figurehead bears several inspirational inscriptions and symbols of hope, and this specimen is perhaps, certainly on a cultural level, one of the most valuable to the Commonwealth of Man. It reflects the hope and work of our ancestors when they left Earth all those years ago. Finding it and putting it alongside the figurehead of our own ship, the Chrysanthemum, was certainly most valuable to our people, and I hope one day we will be able to reunite all 6 figureheads, although maybe that's wishful thinking. Most specimens' effects I can logically explain. This one, however, well, let's put it down to a sense of nationalistic pride perhaps, because we found that since acquiring it and storing the figurehead in our Grand Archive, our Navy ship's hull integrities have increased by 10%. Perhaps it's some sort of psychological effect on ships' captains and naval staff. Perhaps throughout the Commonwealth, never again shall a ship be lost to space. Who knows? But speaking about hull integrity, the next find also gives us wonderful advancements in this area. This is the finding of a derelict Cybrex Warform. This is the remains of a Cybrex Warform that was destroyed in battle against its own kind. The cause of the infighting was unclear, so evenly matched with these machines, precisely targeted blows were dealt to identical critical systems before emergency self-detonation was triggered. It is a rare example of a true stalemate in warfare. We found this while searching for clues on the Cybrex themselves, and we think that they were fighting due to differences in how they wanted to treat organics moving forward. But sadly, unless we ever find an intact Cybrex Warform and have a chat with it, we're unlikely to ever get a real answer. Nevertheless, study of these Warforms have improved ship hull integrity by an additional 10%. A wonderful find indeed. The key to fertility comes next, and again, this is a glorious specimen. We managed to acquire this from a clone soldier empire. This device is a collection of genetic research used to restore the ability of their species to breed naturally. Having originally been cloned for battle, they acquired this new specimen, which gave them the ability to propagate their species independently. Of course, since we stole it from them, let's just say life isn't going too well for them, but it has increased our own genetic research and translates to approximately a 6% increase in population growth speed. During exploration of an astral rift, we found the next specimen to discuss, the Leviathan Scale. This is a fragment of a large organism discovered on the other side of a rift. The exotic scale is a hybrid of organic and metallic components which are combined into a complex lattice, making it incredibly resistant to kinetic shock. We have basically no idea what this really is. We considered perhaps it was a creature that represented a hunter, but frankly we just don't know. What we do know, however, is that we have been able to determine its composition, and we've used that knowledge to increase alloy output by 8%. The last of the Mharin, Kharin, is possibly the most potent aphrodisiac in the known galaxy. The natural cycle of this rare flower has the dangerous capability to render an entire sentient population vulnerable to a deadly neurotoxin. Having evolved independently from intelligent beings, the side effect is entirely non-beneficial to the organism. It seems that when its pollen comes into contact with any neural network, it mistakes it for a welcoming reproductive organ and releases this exotic chemical payload. We once lost, for several months, an entire planet to this plant. It essentially created a planet-wide orgy. Let's just say the fertility rate spiked, and so did the divorce rate 9 months later. Indeed, it is a situation that the local tourist board still insists was good for business. In any case, this plant, when properly used, is rather marvellous indeed. It increases pop growth speed by 8%. We are really starting to touch on some of the more powerful specimens now. Next up, we have a rather wicked sounding specimen, the Rudari Death Laser prototype. This is a weaponized laser hastily assembled by the long-dead Rudari, found on a station orbiting their home planet. This hacked-together weapon of mass destruction was created in a final gambit for the Rudari species in their war against the Pog Mori. In the end, the laser simply self-destructed upon activation, annihilating their entire planet. Not the best outcome for the Rudari, but a wonderful find for us, as upon finding the laser, we were able to reverse engineer it, which increased weapon yields by 7%. Lovely. The Voidworm Heart comes next. This beautiful organ can be acquired from defeating the Voidworm Plague crisis level event. Voidworm Hearts are divided into 3 main chambers. Each chamber increases the pressure of its circulatory system in sequence, maintaining its fluids below their boiling point in order to ensure survival in the vacuum of space. While the skin of the Voidworm is for the most part hermetically sealed, various digestive and reproductive orifices surrender some amount of valuable pressure over time. The heart itself is not incredibly special, but it is displayed in the entrance hall of our Grand Archive, and it reflects the accomplishments of the Commonwealth of Man. Thus it provides a wonderful empire-wide bonus to Unity. Moving on to the psionic entity Residue. This wonderful gloop is all that remains of an entity of pure psionic energy, codenamed the Psionic Avatar. This was discovered emerging from a temporal rift that allowed energy from across the galaxy to pool in a single location. Malevolence in a concentrated form, if you will. It may have been purposely isolated from the hyperlane network for eons until its recent discovery. In any case, the guns of the Commonwealth soon put the creature to rest, and this residue is more or less all that remained. Its properties, however, are fantastic at channeling energy, and since we started producing it on industrial scales, we have seen energy increases of approximately 8%. I should note, we're not entirely clear how it works. Now I have two specimens that increases the effectiveness of our sublight engines. I don't have to tell you, my lords, just how valuable sublight speed can be. The first was during our expedition to seek out knowledge regarding the Inetian traders, and that specimen has been dubbed the Inetian Planetary Model Manual. Quite the mouthful. This wonderful find is a user manual written by the Inetian traders on how to operate and maintain their planetary system model. The Inetians use this complex system to calculate the most cost-effective trading routes between neighbouring planets. The model also includes the ability to track deals as they're being made for truly the most cutthroat of merchants. Nevertheless, this specimen enabled us to increase our relative sublight speed by 8%, as did the ancient Rift Sphere, which comes next. We found this Rift Sphere during exploration of a moon which happened to have a dormant astral scar in system. It appears that once upon a time an ancient spacefaring vessel travelled through an astral rift and crash landed on the moon. Buried deep beneath the planet's surface for centuries, this hastily assembled spherical ship is what brought the forefathers of the species that once lived here into the galaxy. Much of its material had since been scavenged for parts, but its core structure remained, and most importantly for us, its engines, which when we retroactively studied, enabled us to increase the efficiency of our own engines, increasing sublight speed by 8%. And then the final specimen to discuss, and perhaps the best that we've found so far in the galaxy, is the missile of the Lone Defender. A disarmed missile from an automated destroyer defending the remains of a long-ruined planet, this ship had likely outlasted the civilization it was created to defend by thousands of years, sadly keeping watch over an empty world. Following its destruction, its vigil finally came to an end, and I must say this is a somewhat sad story, the tale of the Lone Defender. This poor automated droid ship must have patrolled the system for millennia before we found it. Whoever designed and built the device knew an awful lot about modular shield design, however. It had equipped perhaps the best shield emitters in the galaxy, and thus, retroactively engineering it has increased our own shield output by 30% in friendly systems. Truly an incredible find.